I'm going to be honest, sometimes the best games aren't the ones plastered all over billboards or breaking the internet with pre-order chaos. Nope, they're the ones quietly sitting in the corner of your library whispering, "Hey, I'm actually incredible." So today, I'm bringing you 20 amazing games I wish more people played, the unsung legends, the underappreciated masterpieces, and the titles that made me yell at my screen, "Why aren't you famous?" Let's dive into the underrated gold. Let me set the scene. I'm gliding across clouds like a cosmic Tony Hawk while a black hole tries to digest the universe behind me, and I'm vibing to a synth soundtrack so good it could cure seasonal depression. That's Solar Ash. It's a game that throws away logic, gravity and subtlety and says, what if movement felt like poetry and bosses were the size of regret? You don't fight monsters, you climb them like architecture, then rip them apart like a parkour god with commitment issues. The story, abstract and beautiful, like reading Nietzsche on a roller coaster. And the visuals, it's like someone spilled neon paint on existentialism. I have no clue why this game isn't trending every time Mercury goes retrograde. If you've got a soul, this game will make it do backflips. And if you don't, well, at least you'll enjoy surfing the apocalypse in style. Playing Atlas Fallen feels like someone dared an RPG to chug 3 energy drinks, then wrestle a sandworm, and somehow it said yes, with zero hesitation. This game lets you surf on sand, punch monsters with fists the size of rental vans, and wield shape-shifting weapons like a medieval transformer. The traversal, it's like snowboarding on powdered cinnamon. The combat, it's aggressive, fast, and sometimes completely unhinged. One time I uppercutted a flying demon straight into the stratosphere and thought, this is what self-care feels like. The story won't win Pulitzers, but who cares? No, I'm too busy pile-driving stone titans while looking like a sand-blasted superhero. Is it a little rough around the edges? Sure. But so is cheese, and everyone loves cheese. So if you like chaos, momentum, and world-ending brawls that leave craters, Atlas Fallen deserves a prime spot in your library. And your heart. Alright, so Don't Nod made Remember Me, then apparently forgot about it. This game's like stepping into a cyberpunk noir film where Paris looks like it's been redesigned by someone who owns only black turtlenecks and neon lights. You play as Nylan, a memory hunter with amnesia, which is peak video game logic, but it works. The real gem here? The memory remixing mechanic. You literally rewrite people's memories like a time-traveling psychologist with a grudge. The combo system lets you customize your own attacks, but not before confusing the hell out of you for the first hour. It's all flashy moves, moral ambiguity, and that glorious, I don't know what I'm doing, but I look cool energy. It didn't get the recognition it deserved, probably because it released in a timeline where every third game was a brown corridor shooter. But Remember Me is bold, stylish, and honestly, kind of genius.
Get off of me!
Imagine Silent Hill took its meds and decided to tell a heartfelt story through the eyes of a scared but stubborn kid with a flashlight and a whole lot of unresolved trauma. That's Guilt, a horror game that creeps up on you not with gore but with meaning. You play as Sally, sneaking through a nightmarish version of her town that's basically built from childhood fear and emotional baggage. The monsters look like your anxiety put on a hoodie and decided to go trick-or-treating. It's stealth heavy, but you don't feel powerless. More like resourceful, like a kid who just figured out duct tape and hope can go a long way. The tone? Spooky but sad, like Tim Burton directed an anti-bullying PSA. And even though it's short, it sticks with you. It's the kind of game you finish, stare at the wall for 5 minutes and whisper, oof! Underplayed and underrated, Guilt deserves way more love, and probably a therapy session. I didn't think I'd be terrified of an oil rig, but Still Wakes the Deep proved otherwise. It's a slow burn horror game where the monster isn't just something in the dark, it's the very concept of isolation wearing a raincoat and whispering unintelligible Scottish threats in your ear. You play as a guy just trying to survive a cosmic horror outbreak while also not freezing to death, which is basically Tuesday if you live in Glasgow. There are no guns, no grenades, just hallways, hell screams, and the sound of your own panic breathing. Every corner you turn feels like a bad decision. It's so immersive I considered putting on a life jacket in real life. The voice acting, stellar. The atmosphere, damp and dreadful. The monster, straight out of your don't Google that after midnight folder. If you're tired of cheap jump scares and want a horror game that crawls under your skin and pays rent, this one's for you. Echo is what happens when stealth games go full Black Mirror. You play as N, a regal space badass who lands on a planet filled with architecture that looks like Versailles got sucked into a sci-fi wormhole. Sounds lovely, right? Wrong. Because this planet, it creates clones of you. And not in the cute, hey look, I'm doing a silly dance with my twin way. No. These clones learn from you. You sprint, they sprint, you shoot, they shoot, you eat snacks at 2 a.m, okay, maybe not that one, but you get the idea. The gameplay loop turns into a psychological chess match where you have to outthink yourself. It's like playing hide and seek with your digital reflection, and spoiler, your reflection is a jerk. Underrated doesn't even begin to cover this game. It's beautiful, unnerving, and smarter than 80% of people who post game reviews on the internet. This is high concept gaming at its weird, brilliant best. Okay, Neva is an emotional sucker punch that hits everyone right in the feels. It's from the same studio that made Grizz, and if you played that, you already know they specialise in beautiful sadness, like if Studio Ghibli directed your therapy session. Neva features a woman and a magical stag bonding while surviving in a decaying world full of emotional metaphors and probably some subtle commentary on climate change. The animation? Gorgeous. The tone? Somewhere between art school final project and spiritual awakening. I haven't cried at a trailer since they killed Mufasa, but Neva almost got me. It's going to be one of those games that sticks in your head long after the credits roll, like a haunting lullaby that makes you feel something even if you're emotionally constipated. Bookmark this game, play it, then text your mum and tell her you love her. Imagine if an early 2000s arcade game got into a bar fight with Devil May Cry, lost but walked away with style. That's Wanted Dead. It's messy, it's clunky, it's chaotic, and I absolutely love it. You're part of a police squad that solves problems by turning everything into a flaming wreck. The combat switches between gunplay and swordplay like it's speed dating with violence. The dialogue? Somewhere between action movie cringe and anime fever dream. And the minigames? I once spent 20 minutes playing ramen eating QTEs instead of progressing the story, and I don't regret it. This game doesn't care if you like it. It knows it's an acquired taste, like black coffee or Nicolas Cage films. But if you want something bold, weird, and gloriously over the top, Wanted Dead delivers. And yes, it has a karaoke mini game, because of course it does. Now, Journey is a game that doesn't scream, it whispers. And that whisper says, sit down, shut up, let's feel some things. You play as a little robed figure, walking through a vast golden desert with no weapons, no dialogue, and no HUD. Just vibes and occasional sliding like you're auditioning for a sand-based Olympic sport. The music swells, the camera pans, you meet strangers online, but you can't talk, you can only chirp, which somehow creates more emotional connection than half of my text conversations. I once journeyed with a random player for 40 minutes, and when they vanished at the end, I had a full-on existential meltdown. No game should hit that hard with no words. That's wizardry. Journey is short, but if you're human, you'll remember it forever. If you're not human, well, welcome to Earth. This is one of our finest emotional exports. If David Cage made a game and actually finished it without going full melodrama, you'd get As Dusk Falls. It's an interactive drama that looks like it was animated by a team of overachieving graphic novelists. Every frame is hand-painted and stylized like a crime documentary made by an art school valedictorian. You control a story that hops between timelines, characters, and moral dilemmas so stressful you'll question your own ethics. Like, do I lie to save my family? Do I tell the truth and ruin a life? Do I microwave this burrito or just accept my fate and starve while making narrative choices? The drama is thick. The voice acting, chef's kiss. And when things go wrong, they don't just go wrong, they spiral. If you've ever wanted to feel responsible for ruining fictional lives in gorgeous slow motion, As Dusk Falls is calling your name, probably in a dramatic voiceover.
I said get on the ground! Who are you?
Okay, hear me out. It's a Souls-like, but you're a crab. No, seriously. Another Crab's Treasure is the kind of game that starts as a joke and ends with you screaming at your monitor like it stole your lunch money. You're Krill, a crab on a mission to retrieve his stolen shell because society is crumbling and hermit crabs apparently practice capitalism now. You use literal trash as armor. Soda cans, bottle caps, fast food cups. It's the most eco-friendly RPG I've ever played. The combat? Surprisingly deep, like Dark Souls with claws and saltwater rage. It's hilarious, bizarre, and somehow still one of the best indie games I've touched in years. The boss fights? Brutal. The humour? Sharper than a lobster's elbow. And it's low-key a critique of ocean pollution. So if you've ever wanted to fight sea monsters while wearing a soup can on your back and making a statement about marine decay, this is your moment.
I'll break you apart!
Jusant is what happens when a climbing mechanic decides it's the main character. This game doesn't bother with explosions, guns, or massive plot twists, no. It gives you a massive tower and says, "Climb it, nerd." And you do, for hours, with joy. You rope yourself into this meditative climb while listening to nothing but the wind, the rustle of ancient rocks, and your own breathing. Sounds boring? That's what I thought. Then, 3 hours later, I was contemplating the meaning of persistence and wondering if I too could overcome emotional mountains by double jumping and patoning into my past mistakes. The game is so chill it could be used as therapy, and yet it demands your focus in the most respectful, Zen master kind of way. If Death Stranding had inner peace and stopped talking about extinction events, it would be Jusant. A love letter to verticality, solitude, and quiet triumphs. You ever play a game so good you start resenting the gaming industry for not marketing it better? That's Banishers. You're a ghost hunter. Your partner is also your girlfriend. She's dead, but still very chatty. So naturally, the two of you go around colonial America exorcising ghosts, solving mysteries, and arguing about metaphysical ethics like a supernatural therapy couple. Combat feels like God of War if Kratos was into relationship counselling and paranormal regret. The narrative? Deliciously tragic. Every choice feels heavy, like, do I banish this ghost or let them keep haunting their killer? Kind of heavy. It's criminally slept on because it dropped during a month where 10 other games were yelling for attention like caffeinated toddlers, but Banishers? It quietly shows up, breaks your heart, and makes you question whether true love survives death. Spoiler, it probably doesn't, but at least the combos look cool while you're grieving.
It's on you.
Bramble is the kind of game that lures you in with fairy tale visuals and then traumatizes you with Nordic horror, like a bedtime story written by Stephen King during a mushroom trip. You play as a little boy named Ola trying to rescue his sister from creatures that would make the brothers Grimm go, okay, that's a bit much. Trolls? Check. Witchy monsters? Yep. Giant baby thing that will 100% haunt your dreams? Oh yeah, baby. Literally. It's part puzzle platformer, part emotional damage simulator, and the art design? Gorgeous. Like if Limbo took art classes and started microdosing Norse mythology. But what elevates it is the atmosphere. Every corner feels like something's watching you, possibly judging your posture. Bramble is short, brutal, and loaded with dark whimsy. Play it, then sleep with the lights on, and maybe apologise to every Scandinavian forest you've ever disrespected. This game is Hitman meets psychedelic rage and plays like your brain took an arrow to the cortex. Children of the Sun throws you into the boots of a masked sniper hell-bent on taking down a cult. And it's got one mechanic that makes it feel totally unique. You control one bullet per level. One. And you ricochet that bullet across enemies like a murderous game of pinball. It's part puzzle, part FPS, all brain melt. Each stage is a bite-sized death labyrinth where you pause, plot, and execute with surgical style. Or if you're me, panic halfway through and watch it all go to hell in glorious slow motion. The aesthetic is gritty, stylized, and fever-dreamy. The narrative? Told mostly in cryptic visuals and aggression. If John Wick joined a death cult and got really into experimental art films, it would look like this. This isn't just a game, it's a vibe. A very sharp, bullet-riddled vibe. Let's talk about Grizz, the only game where I felt like I needed a glass of wine and a degree in emotional psychology just to get through level 1. This isn't a game, it's an art exhibition that secretly punches you in the soul. You play as a girl processing grief, but instead of therapy, she runs through stunning, colour-shifting worlds while solving platforming puzzles and losing her literal voice. The game doesn't speak a single word, yet it screams beauty and pain in every frame. The animation? Straight from a watercolour dreamscape. The soundtrack? So good I listened to it while crying over leftovers. And while the platforming is simple, it's not the challenge that gets you. It's the overwhelming emotional resonance. By the end, you're not just playing Grizz, you're feeling Grizz. And if you finish this game and don't question your own emotional maturity, you probably skipped it for Fortnite. Let me paint a picture. You're in a post-apocalyptic city where dust storms can kill you, water is currency, and people are more morally bankrupt than my loot box history. Welcome to I Am Alive, a survival action game that came and went faster than my patience during escort missions, but deserves a major shout out. It's not polished, in fact it's a little rough around the edges, but like a stray dog with a heart of gold, it sticks with you. The stamina mechanic forces you to think before you climb anything. Ammo? Rare. Enemies, desperate. The tension, constant. There's a moment where I bluffed an enemy with an empty gun just to stay alive. That kind of mechanic is genius. You don't win by brute force, you win by grit, timing, and sheer, please don't notice I'm bluffing energy. It's bleak, atmospheric, and strangely addictive. A hidden gem buried in post-apocalyptic ash. Ah yes, Kenna, the Pixar movie you play. This game is so visually enchanting I half expected talking animals to offer me emotional support. You're Kena, a spirit guide helping lost souls pass on by smacking corruption with a magic staff and commanding adorable little fuzzballs called the Rot. Yes, Rot, and they're somehow cuter than most pets I've owned. This game's combat is tight, like a lighter version of God of War, but with more smiling and less dad trauma. The animations are pure eye candy. Every particle effect sparkles like someone at Ember Lab won a bet with Pixar. And don't let the cuteness fool you. This game gets hard. Boss fights require actual skill and patience and the ability to admit you might have underestimated a flower demon. Kena is heartwarming, challenging, and full of soul. It's criminal that more people didn't give it the love it deserves. Next game on the list is called Bloody Spell. Let me be honest with you guys, I put this game on the list as just for the thumbnail because I know no matter how good is this video, you will only click if you see big boobies, you horny dumbass fucks. But still, it's not a bad game. This game is like a chaotic cousin of Neo and Devil May Cry who got kicked out of family game night for using too many combos. It's a Chinese martial arts action RPG that went under most people's radar, probably because it released with the marketing budget of a lemonade stand. But this game rips. Fast-paced combat with more air juggling than a circus act, crazy customizable weapons, and enough blood to make Tarantino blush. The environments range from creepy temples to nightmare castles to, let's just say, places with questionable architecture and lots of spikes. It's rough, sure, the UI screams intern project. But underneath it, a slick, criminally underrated hack and slash that deserves a cult following and at least 3 Reddit fan theories. Last but not least, we have Immortals Fenyx Rising, aka the game Ubisoft sent to die between Assassin's Creed and watching paint dry. But folks, it's amazing. Imagine Greek mythology had a glow-up and got narrated by 2 sarcastic gods who sound like they're co-hosting a podcast. You play as Fenyx, gender-optional hero of SAS and Destiny, in a giant open world full of puzzles, monsters, and so many jokes about Zeus's questionable hobbies. The combat is tight, flying around like a caffeinated demigod, shooting arrows that you guide mid-air like you're in an Olympic anime. It's fun. The puzzles are like Zelda's shrines, but with more Greek flavour and occasional sass. And did I mention the art style? Bright, cartoony, and easy on the eyes after you've stared at gritty brown wastelands for 300 hours. If you skip this because of the name or timing, I forgive you. But go back, it's worth every mythological pun. And that wraps up 20 amazing games I wish more people played. If you're tired of generic AAA filler and want unforgettable stories, unique gameplay, and games that feel like passion projects instead of product launches, these are the gems to hunt down. See you in the next one.